What's something that happened on a first date that made you decide against a second date? While we were having lunch we ran into some friend of hers I didn't know and he stopped to say hi and their brief conversation somehow brought up that she owed the guy a meal because he'd paid for their last lunch together, so she offered to pay for his lunch to square it away and he agreed. He ordered something to go and they told the waitress she'd pay for it, they both said their goodbyes, and the guy left us alone to go wait for his lunch at some other table. So far so good. Though their conversation was a bit strange, it did seem like it came up organically, it didn't needlessly drag on, and the guy was nice at all times and also polite enough to make himself scarce as soon as possible instead of inserting himself into our lunch date with the excuse that he was waiting for his food. So we continued our conversation and everything seemed fine, until some time later after the friend had already left and it was time to settle our check, and I realized this girl obviously expected me to pay for the whole thing including the lunch she offered to pay for her friend as a way to pay him back for the favor he did her. Now, even if the friend hadn't ordered a pretty pricey meal that cost more than the rest of our check put together, it didn't sit well with me how she had shamelessly decided to pay him back with my money in what seemed like a deliberate scam. So I paid for the whole thing in order to avoid making a scene, but later brought it up and told her that it wasn't cool. She made it clear that she saw nothing wrong with it and said I was being cheap and childish, so I thanked her for her honesty and told her we were done and I wasn't going to be calling her again. She tried to argue that I was overreacting but I held firm and blocked her a couple of days later because she insisted on texting me to convince me that I was wrong and we should go out again. Some people really live in an alternate dimension. What would you do in this situation?